Hello and welcome to ActivInspire Basics. During this podcast, I will be explaining many of the basic components of ActivInspire to help you when you are using and making flip charts. Let's start out by going to the dashboard. The dashboard automatically opens when you open ActivInspire. You can open flip charts, previously viewed flip charts, and it shows you a menu of different things that you can do off to the left side. If, for instance, you do close the dashboard and you need to reopen it, you just go up to the toolbar, hit View, and open up the dashboard, and it will reopen it just like I've done here. You can close it with the X or click Close. Back to the main menu. Now the next one is the main toolbar. There are many important things to know when you're looking at the main toolbar. Here, they've got all the different options that are on the main toolbar. You have your toolbar options, the file menu. You can turn your pages, previous and next page. You've got your select tool, pen tool, many other tools, fill, shapes, clear, undo, redo, page reset, text. Here's your color palette where you can choose different colors to have your pen or your fill or your text. Here's a roll up and then a pin. Now, one important thing to know is positioning. You can position the toolbar on the page where it's most comfortable and useful for you. Myself, I like it pinned to the top. So if I go up here to this pin positioning, the toolbar options, if I click on it, I can dock it to the left, to the right, top, bottom, or I can use it as a floater. If I dock it to the right, you'll see it looks similar to this toolbar that I have on my flip chart. I can use this little arrow and roll it up. If I roll it up, it just shows me the file menu, the previous page, and the next page. Now this little pin shows you if I unpin it, it disappears off into the world, it's called. Then if I go over, it'll pop back out. So sometimes if you want your toolbar showing at all times, you will pin it and it will stay out. Then I can roll it back down, and again I'm going to dock it at the top. A lot of times if I'm working myself on the Promethean board, I will leave it docked at the top. If I have the students coming up to the board and the students can't reach up to the top to use the various options on the toolbar, I'll dock it at the bottom for them. That way it's easier for them to access. Okay, back to the main menu. The next one is the select tool. And the select tool is the little arrow, just like this. And it allows you to click on things and drag them and edit different things. If I click on it, it'll give me a toolbar. I can delete it, I can brighten it, I can group it with another item, I can make it bigger or smaller. Different options it lets you do, and that's with the select tool. The next one is to turn pages, and that's basically just as it says, to turn your pages. You can go back to a previous page or go on to the next page. And those are up here on my toolbar that's docked up at the top. A very essential thing to know is when you're at the end of a flip chart, if you continue clicking on the next page, it will continue adding pages to the end of your flip chart. So as long as you keep clicking, it will keep adding. So once you get to a blank page at the end of your flip chart, and you can also look right up here where it tells you what page you're on. If you get to the end, you probably want to go ahead and stop the flip chart, because if you keep clicking next page, it will continue on. Okay, let's go back to the main page again. The next one is the pen and the highlighter. And just as it says, there's the pen, and then next to it is the highlighter. You can change different colors if you'd like. So if I click on the pen and I want to write in red, I go over to the color palette, click red, and it will write in red. If I highlight, it will highlight in yellow. If I want to change the width and the thickness of it, I just use this little slider, and then it will change it to the thickness I want. And these write just as a regular pen or a highlighter would write. It's much easier when you're at the board itself using the pen. than it is using a mouse while you're at the computer. And all of these objects from the pen and highlighter tool are called annotated objects. That means they're on the top layer and they're easily removed. I can erase them with the erase tool, or I can click the spray bottle and click clear annotations, and it will clear it back to how it was previously. Now I go back and click the select tool, go back to the main menu, and the next option is clear tool. And the clear tool is simply what I just did on the last page. The clear tool is the spray bottle. You can clear annotations. That's the ones that you will use, the option you'll use most of the time. You can also clear objects, clear the grid, clear the background, and clear the whole entire page. But most of the time you will just clear annotations, which is any pen or markings that the students have done on the page while you're working or doing a lesson. The next option is the undo and redo. And of course those are just as they're stated. You can undo and reverse any action that you just performed. And if you do that and you accidentally click on the undo, then you can redo it. But as you can see, the undo, it will allow me to do it. But the redo, it will not allow me because there's nothing that I've undone on this page to redo. So it just reapplies anything I've undone. Next is our text tool. And we like to add text to flip charts, so we just go up to the T. Once I click on the T, you'll see that a text bar or a toolbar comes up, just as in any word processing program that you may use. And you can see you can type anything. Once you've typed it, as long as you keep clicking, it will keep the text tool going. So in order to get rid of the text tool, you have to go back up and click the select tool. Okay, and then I can click page reset and it will reset the page and take that off of the page. And that is the next thing I'm going to talk about. The page reset is at the, looks like a little red recycle circle. And it's especially important when you're having students doing work on a flip chart and you don't want to save it with the students' work on it, so you want to reset that page, especially if you teach the same information to 2 or 3 different classes. It makes it very useful to reset the page after the students have worked on the page, and that way it's ready for your next class. Next one is full screen. Sometimes you want to view the flip chart a little bit bigger or in full screen, or sometimes you accidentally hit full screen, but the full screen is up in the right corner, and you full screen it and you'll notice how it switched. One thing to remember is to never, as it shows here, never exit out with the red X, because if you do that you will close your entire flip chart. So always just make sure you exit back out using the same full screen X that you entered into the full screen with. The next one is shapes. In order to add shapes, you click the little red square and the orange circle. You click that, it gives all your different shape options, and if you want more, you click on the little arrow, gives you a few more. Now this color palette will choose your outline of your shape, and then you can choose your width by sliding the little slider. These colors down here will choose the fill color, what you want on the inside of your shape. So say I want a yellow star, so I click yellow. I wanted a black outline to match this star at the bottom. Oops, that's a triangle. Let's go get a star. Here's a star. Okay, next I can do a triangle, and I want to match the triangle that I have on the page. So I want a green outline and a blue fill color. And there's the triangle. Go back up to the select tool and I can reset the page and back. The next is the fill tool, which we just filled a little bit, but it's a paint Looks like a paint can that's tipped over. Okay, so I can click on the fill tool. If I want to change any text, I can use the fill tool to change any words or text. I can change the background color, and I can change the color inside of shapes. So say I want to change the background to pink. I just touch in the background and it changes the background to pink. If I want to change the inside color of a shape, I just click on it and changes the inside color of a shape. Or if I want to change the word, I just click on the word itself and it changes. So that's how you can use the fill tool. I'm going to reset my page, click my select button. Next one is the color picker. Sometimes up here in the color palette are not colors that you want. You want to change them. Well, if you know what color you want, you can select on to replace a color, but most often if you're trying to find a specific color, you can right click, and we say to use white preferably because you can always replace it back to the white color. If there's a specific color you're looking for, you can go to the eyedropper, and then wherever I'm touching on the screen is the different colors that you can see. So if I want to go down to the dog's collar and pick one of these blue colors, then it has put blue into that little space where white was. And I could write with that blue color, and now I have that specific color. If I am done using that color, I can go back and right click and turn it back to white again. And that's how you can pick certain colors on a flip chart. The next one is the tool store. The tool store is very useful to put the different tools that you use most of the time on your toolbox. In order to get there, you'll go up to the tools at the top, you'll go down to more tools, and then over and down to the user-defined buttons. Once you click on it, another screen will pop up, and you click on commands. Once you click on commands, it tells you all the command options that are available, and this is what is in the main toolbox on your page. Now, something that I do not use is a connector, so I can click on connector and I can remove it. That will take that off of my main toolbox. Something that I do use are math tools. So I click on math tools and I add it to my toolbox. Then when I'm done, I click done. Now, I've taken the connectors off and added math tools. So I've got it on the bottom of the page. In order to get there, you click tools, more tools, edit user defined buttons, and then commands. And you can put whatever you'd like onto your toolbar. Next is the camera tool. The camera tool is used when you're trying to add a picture or something that you want to cut and paste into a flip chart, but it doesn't work. So you can use the camera tool. In order to get to the camera tool, you go to the tools, down to camera, and most often you're going to use an area snapshot. There are different other options, but I've only used area snapshot. So say I want to take a picture of just this section, and you can see you can move it if you need to, but I want to take a picture of this. I can put that picture on the current page. I can put it on a new page, my clipboard, into my resources, or into my shared resources. I'm going to put it on the current page. So I click current page, and it puts it right on my page here. So that's how you use the camera tool. It comes in very handy. Next is drag a copy. Drag a copy simply drags and makes extra copies of items, makes unlimited copies. It will just continue to drag and drag and drag. In order to do that, you click on the item that you want to drag, and you right click on it and you drag down or scroll down to where it says drag a copy and make sure that that's checked. Then when you hover over the item, you'll see that my cursor now changed to a hand with the green plus sign, and I can simply drag copies. So if I click, it'll just keep dragging copies. Now you notice my new copies do not have the hand and the green plus sign. They just have the select tool, so I can move them around. Only that first one has the drag a copy. So I can do that with an item like that, or say for instance you're trying to get your students to pick the beginning sound of a word. So as you can see down here with the ST and the CL, I've used drag a copy to put those in there. Now if I right click, there you can see drag a copy is checked. If I uncheck it, I no longer have my hand and my green plus sign. I can right click it again and make it drag a copy again. Back up and reset my page and go back to the menu. Okay, now we're going to talk about the browsers. There are several different browsers. There's the page browser, resource browser, object browser, notes browser, property browser, actions browser, and voting browser. Now if I go off to the side over here, you'll see the browsers pop out. I'm going to pin them. That way it moves my flip chart over so I can see the whole thing. It doesn't cover it up anymore. And you can see the different browsers at the top here. Now the main three that you will use are your page browser, your resource browser, and your notes browser. Your page browser just simply shows the pages. If you want to see more pages, you just use the slider. It'll show you all the pages. Most of the time I have the slider at the bottom so I can see the whole page and it's bigger. The next one is your resource browser. That's where you'll find the resources to enter and move over to your flip chart. And the last one is your notes browser. And your notes browser simply allows you to write notes, either to remind yourself on what you want to say on that slide, or to let your students know what to do if there's different actions or activities that you have on the page, so that they will understand the direction. Next page is the page browser itself. Okay, I'm going to unpin this. At the top you can see there's your page browser. There's your browser window options and your page options. If you're on a page, you simply go over to the upper right corner and it'll give you menu options. And I showed you your slider so you can change to see however many pages you want to see on your browser. Up at the top you can pin it, as you saw earlier where I went and pinned it so it would stay open. And then once you click on a page, it will automatically open that page. If you want to reorder a page, you just click on the page and move it up or down, and it will change and reorder that page for you. The next one is the resource browser. When you're using the resource browser, you can go to shared resources, which are the three little heads. The single head is the My Resources. Those are anything that you created yourself. Most of the time you'll go into shared resources. And then you'll choose your type of resource. You can select a background, an image, an activity, and then you can click on either the triangle or the plus sign to maximize, and it'll be a triangle or a minus sign to minimize the folders. Then you can click and drag your resource directly onto your flip chart, and it will add it to that page. Then we have the scroll bar to scroll up and down, your resource options, and then another scroll bar. The next one is the notes browser, and it simply is, as it says, the notes. You add your notes that you want to that page. Once you've added notes, you'll see up here this little yellow post-it note. If a page does not have notes, it will not have this little yellow post-it note up at the top. Then Promethean Planet. Promethean Planet is a great resource. You just go to PrometheanPlanet.com, you create a free account, you can log in, and you can search through thousands and thousands of different resources and resource packs. I constantly go to Promethean Planet to find different flip charts for whatever I'm teaching, and then I just take the flip chart that's made and then I alter it to fit the needs of my students. Great resource for you. And the last page is the resource packs themselves. When you find a resource pack that you'd like and download it to your computer, when you're trying to import that into your shared resources, you go to File, you go down to Import, and then to Resource Pack to Shared Resources. You click on that. Once you click on that, then you go to your Downloads folder and you select the item that's downloaded, and it usually ends in a .as4a. Then you click Open. Once you do that, ActivInspire will automatically import those items and index them into your library. That way you'll be able to search for them and use them in your flip chart. That's the end of our ActivInspire Basics. I hope you enjoyed this webcast, and just let me know if you have any questions. Thank you, and signing off for now.